whining little whelp. You're gonna stop that stuttering or get the hell out of here.
Today, we're unveiling the 10 biggest egomaniacs, tantrum throwers, and all-around bad apples who made Tinseltown sizzle with controversy. From divas with diamond-sharp claws to leading men with egos the size of Jupiter, we discuss 10 biggest jerks in Hollywood history. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford. That woman could walk into a room and freeze the bubbles in every champagne flute with a single glance. Remember, whatever happened to Baby Jane? Well, believe me, off-screen, those claws were sharper than a stiletto in a stampede. Perfectionist? Oh, she wasn't a watercolor artist, she was a drill sergeant. One wrong line, a stray curl, a dress not ironed to atomic smoothness, bam! Consider yourself lucky if you escaped with just a withering stare. Assistants fled faster than cockroaches from raid. Directors learned to dodge like sailors in a hurricane. And co-stars? Some swear they still have phantom bruises from Joan's icy shoulder. Remember Mildred Pierce, the pie scene? Multiply that fury by 10, aim it at a caterer who dared serve lukewarm soup, and you've got Joan on a bad day. It's a wonder the Oscars didn't have a Best Temper Tantrum award just for her. Bette Davis. First up, Bette Davis, the firecracker in a silk dress. Remember that blistering monologue in All About Eve about aging actresses? Well, that wasn't just acting. Bette lived and breathed those words, her tongue sharper than a January wind. She wielded words like a samurai sword, precise and deadly. Awards, roles, even parking spaces. Nothing was safe from Bette's burning ambition. And the feuds. Joan Crawford was just one name on a long list. These two Hollywood titans clashed like cymbals in a heavy metal band, leaving everyone else with ringing ears and a healthy dose of popcorn-munching glee. But behind the smoke and mirrors, maybe there was a reason for all that fire. Maybe it was the chip on her shoulder. The years fighting for recognition in a man's world. Maybe it was the fear of fading, of losing the spotlight she'd clawed her way to. Who knows? Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando, oh boy. Remember that iconic mumble in The Godfather? Well, that wasn't just a character choice. Mumbling, grunting, disappearing into roles like a magician into a hat. That was Marlon's brand of intensity. Method acting to the extreme, some called it. Unprofessional drama queen, others said. Aloofness? Let's just say Marlon wasn't the life of the party unless the party was in his Tahiti retreat, away from everyone else. Interviews felt like interrogations. Co-stars got the cold shoulder faster than a bad date. And paparazzi? Forget it. You had a better chance of spotting a Yeti than getting a smile from Brando. Unprofessional? Oh, he could walk off a set faster than a gambler from a losing streak. Rewrites? Forget it. His script was his gospel. Directors learned to tiptoe around his moods like tightrope walkers over a volcano. And don't even get me started on the Academy Awards. Refusing the Oscar for The Godfather? That was just pure Brando, a rebel with a cause. Or maybe just a guy who liked making headlines. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, that swashbuckling rogue, could charm the sword right out of Robin Hood's scabbard and leave hearts fluttering faster than a flag in a hurricane. But off-screen, his life was a wilder pirate raid than anything Hollywood filmed. Womanizing? Let's just say Errol collected conquests like Captain Kidd collected treasure. Hollywood starlets, socialites, even teenagers. No port was safe from his charm. He was a human kaleidoscope of romances, leaving a trail of broken hearts and raised eyebrows in his wake. Heavy drinking? Oh, Errol wasn't just a social sipper, he was a bathtub gin kind of guy. Booze flowed like rivers through his life, fueling legendary parties and wilder nights. He could outlast a sailor in a rum-soaked tavern and wake up looking like he just stepped off a movie poster. Disregard for authority? Think Robin Hood with a mischievous grin and a flask of brandy. Studio execs were lucky if they got a mumbled, "aye, aye," instead of a witty retort. He once famously walked off a movie set because his trailer wasn't luxurious enough. Talk about your prima donna pirates. John Wayne, the Duke himself. Remember him on screen? Steely jaw clenched, steely gaze fixed on the horizon, fighting for justice as only a cowboy could? Well, off camera, that steely gaze could turn frosty fast, especially when it landed on something John didn't like. Conservative views? Let's just say John Wayne would have fit right in at a Republican rally back in the day. He was a staunch believer in the American way, apple pie, and, unfortunately, some outdated ideas about race and gender. His interviews could make headlines like a runaway stagecoach, leaving ears ringing, and minds wondering if the Duke had stepped back in time. Outspokenness? John didn't mince words. He was a bull in a china shop of political correctness, his opinions booming like a Gatling gun. Tallulah Bankhead. Oh, Tallulah Bankhead. That dame could walk into a room and turn the champagne flat just with a raised eyebrow. Outrageous behavior? Let's just say Tallulah didn't play by the Hollywood rulebook, throwing food across tables, streaking through parties stark naked, leaving directors speechless with her on-set antics. You name it, she probably did it, and with a healthy dose of her signature smoky laugh. She was a hurricane in a cocktail dress, leaving a trail of broken furniture and stunned bystanders in her wake. Struggles with substance abuse? Sadly, behind the glittering facade, Tallulah fought a long battle with addiction. Alcohol, amphetamines, barbiturates. She chased oblivion with the same ferocity she brought to everything else. It was a dark counterpoint to her bright flame, a whisper of vulnerability beneath the roar of her laughter. Tallulah Bankhead burned bright, leaving a trail of singed eyebrows, smashed plates, and unforgettable stories in her wake. Hedy Lamarr, the most beautiful woman in the world, they called her. And she knew it. Remember that infamous slap heard round Hollywood? Joan Crawford, poor dear, was just trying to be friendly on set, offering Hedy a ride home. Hedy, in a silk gown the color of moonlight, sniffed like she'd smelled something rotten and declared, "I wouldn't be caught dead in your jalopy." Joan, scarlet-faced, muttered something about a borrowed Rolls Royce and stormed off. Talk about an ice queen. Then there was the time Clark Gable, bless his dimpled heart, tried to steal a kiss during a scene. Hedy, quicker than a viper, backhanded him across the cheek and hissed, "Don't you ever touch me without my permission!" Clark, stunned, just mumbled an apology and shuffled away. Now, I love a bit of on-screen spark, but that was pure frostbite. Katharine Hepburn. Oh, you haven't heard the half of it when it comes to Kate Hepburn. Sure, she was a firecracker on screen, but let me tell you off camera, that temper could flare faster than a 4th of July sparkler. Take the time she was filming The African Queen. Humphrey Bogart was trying to be smooth, offering to help Kate into a boat. Well, she shot him a look like he'd insulted her favorite brooch, snapped, "I can handle myself, thank you very much," and practically shoved him aside. Then there was the infamous incident with the director on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Kate, never one to mince words, disagreed with a scene and let him know it. Loudly, in front of the entire cast and crew. Don't get me wrong, I admired her talent, that's for sure. She was a legend, no doubt, but definitely one who marched to the beat of her own very loud drum. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene, oh Marlene. The woman could smolder on screen like a lit fireplace, but off camera, that heat could turn into a full-blown inferno. Remember that time she sashayed onto the set of A Foreign Affair in a couture pantsuit, looking every bit the glamorous goddess? Billy Wilder, the director, just chuckled and said, "Marlene, darling, you can't wear trousers in this movie. It's 1948. Well, did Marlene blink? Not a chance. "Billy," she purred, eyes like icicles, "the audience will want me in trousers, and the audience always gets what they want." Wilder gulped, mumbled something about rewriting the script, and voila. Marlene strutted her stuff in silk slacks. Then there was the night she was supposed to sing at a posh charity gala. The room was buzzing, champagne flutes clinking, everyone waiting for the siren to take the stage. And Marlene? Stuck in her dressing room, demanding a bowl of raw potatoes and absolute silence. The organizer, a poor man on the verge of a nervous breakdown, pleaded, "Marlene, the guests are restless." she just raised an eyebrow, took a dramatic bite of potato, and drawled. Let them wait. Marlene Dietrich appears on her own terms. And appear she did, an hour later, looking like $1,000,000 and singing like an angel. But the price of that performance? A room full of disgruntled tuxedos and enough side-eye to power a small city. Joan Blondell. Remember Joan Blondell? Take the time she was filming Gold Diggers of 1933. The scene called for her to sing and dance with James Cagney. Now, Cagney was no Valentino, but he could move. Joan, used to stealing the spotlight, wasn't thrilled about sharing it. So, mid-take, she throws him a look like he'd stepped on her lucky sequin, snaps, "Honey, I can carry this scene myself," and practically tap dances over him. Poor Cagney just shrugs and mutters something about show ponies. If you enjoyed this peek behind the velvet curtain, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the fun. We've got plenty more juicy stories from the Golden Age just waiting to be spilled.